Yo, do we have a new king of bass? Let's talk about it. So check it out. These are the new Sony ULT headphones, and you might be wondering, like, is this a completely new line? No. This is actually part of my favorite line of Sony headphones, that extra bass line. So the XB is now gonna be ULT. So you'll be seeing this name across some of Sony's audio products, like their Bluetooth speakers, their giant tower speakers, their headphones, and maybe in the future we'll see some earbuds as well. I love the extra bass line. I love to hear a lot of bass in my headphones, which Sony's ultimate brand is all about. These look so similar to the Mark V's, except they're a little chunkier. They're a little bit on the thicker side. They have bigger ear cups overall, the casing is, but they don't feel like gigantic headphones. Like, these feel very usable. I take these outside, no problem. And back in the day, that extra bass line, you'd have to be pretty brave to go outside with some of those. They were huge. Eventually down the line, they got smaller and smaller to where we eventually got to the point where you can wear these proudly and not worry about anybody thinking you're a DJ. Now, unlike the 1000X Mark V's, but like its predecessor, the 910Ns, these can fold like this. So if you want to throw it inside of the included case, you'll have no issue when it comes to traveling with these. That does mean there's a higher chance of them breaking, but having that flexibility to be able to make these smaller, maybe toss them into a backpack or a pouch, a lot of people really, really appreciate that. I've never had any issues with this line of headphones in the world of comfort, and this is no different. These are over-ear headphones, so that means they're not going to be resting against your ears. They go all the way around it. We've always had those big ear cushions before that were always super soft and comfortable, and while these may not be gigantic ear cushions, they still do a really good job at staying comfortable. So if you plan on having any long listening sessions, comfort, absolutely not going to be an issue. These ear cushions have a pretty wide gap, as well as them being super soft. You can throw these on for a long time and you'll be fine. Now, I know I keep saying how much it looks like the 1000X Mark V's, but there are some key differences besides the overall size. One being this little rainbow prism effect that you have on the Sony logo over here, while on each side. And you also have that same prism effect on the Alt button, which we'll be talking about later. So I do think that's a nice touch. I don't know if it's for everyone, but I personally like it. Now, another difference when it comes to the overall design, the build quality here is also different from the 1000X Mark V's. Now, these are made out of plastic, but they have like a soft finish to them. So it doesn't necessarily feel like cheap plastic. It doesn't feel horrible. But if I were to grab the Mark V's over here, you can definitely feel a difference in the smoothness, but like, you gotta be looking for that kind of thing. These definitely feel a bit more premium, but they're also quite a bit more money. From a build quality perspective, I could walk around with these and not feel like I'm wearing a cheap pair of headphones. I have absolutely no issues with the build here, but we do have to see how this holds up over time. That is always the bigger question when it comes to headphones. How do they withstand wear and tear over like a year or so? Now, in terms of battery life, since we're talking about long listening sessions, this thing is rated for 30 hours of battery life with active noise canceling on, and without it, 50 hours. And you'd expect those big numbers considering how large the ear cushions are overall. So definitely within the realm of what I would expect. That is extremely solid battery life, so you can go multiple days without charging. They do have a fast charge feature where 10 minutes of charging will get you 5 hours worth of listening. And even if the battery does die on you, you're able to just plug in the 3.5mm jack and still use the headphones. These are Sony headphones, so you can expect a bunch of features. One thing to note though is that these have the same processing chip as the 1000X Mark IVs, so just the last generation. So you know it's going to be solid in terms of active noise canceling. And the 1000X Mark IVs were amazing at active noise canceling. I really have no issues with the active noise canceling here. These sound absolutely great. So if you're traveling with this and you just want to block out everything, it's going to do a really, really good job. And when you put on any kind of audio, whether it's like anything at all, you're not hearing anything else around you unless it's like absurdly loud. So definitely great active noise canceling here. Now the transparency mode, where you're able to hear everything going on around you, maybe have a conversation with someone, it's okay. I can definitely hear what's going on around me. I can talk to somebody. It works, but it just feels like low. I feel like I'm like really listening to hear what people are saying. I don't know if the mics just don't pick up the voices that well or what it is, but I feel like everything I hear just kind of sounds really low. Let me give this another shot. We do have that active noise canceling button right here on the side. Pop this on. Yeah, I hear you.
Okay. Whispering.
Yeah, no, I definitely hear you. It's passable, it works. Not the worst I've heard, but nowhere near the best. This does what it's supposed to do. Now, one thing that is cool is that you can activate the transparency mode by just holding the right ear cup. So when someone comes up to you, you can just talk to them. It's not a problem whatsoever. Hey, what's going on? You can also do this. You know, it's the same thing, but you know, it's there, it's a feature. I'm never mad that a feature exists, but you know, you just take it off. I mean, it is a little bit more work to just keep your hand to your ear than just kind of move it behind your ear. Now, while we're on the topic of features, you know, the headphones app is going to give you everything that you need in terms of customization. And you also get access to Sony's 360 audio, and you can go in there and customize it to work for you if you care for that kind of thing. And there's just like a ton of customization that you can do for the headphones themselves. It's all within this app, so you can find a slew of settings and features that you probably won't find on other headphones. But all right, let's talk about probably the most important thing here, and that's the sound quality. So first and foremost, like I said, this is part of the extra bass line. So that means if you love bass, that is why you're picking this up. Like if you're not somebody who loves bass in your audio, this isn't for you. This isn't what you're gonna wanna get. There are tons of other options for Sony. This is for the bass head. Now right out of the box, these are tuned to have more bass. So if you're into hip hop or EDM or any other kind of content that is bass heavy, this is going to do really well in those genres. Now also right out of the box, if you're someone who likes to enjoy a lot of singing and like, you know, high frequencies, like higher pitched sounds, this isn't going to be amazing for that right out of the box. Now, you can jump into the headphones app, pick one of the presets to combat the high bass. Honestly, the very first one, Bright, kind of does the trick for me. If I'm listening to the band intervals, I'll probably jump to that Bright setting so that I can hear most of the instruments a bit better. It's just a lot clearer for music that doesn't require bass, and I've had no issues. I feel like it sounds really good. It gives me like the best of both worlds. It's just a push of a button to enjoy other genres like I like to, and while that might seem like a trade-off to some folks, it's not a trade-off to me because there are no other headphones that can produce the amount of bass that this can. While with a few EQ tweaks, I feel like it can match up with a lot of other headphones for the content that doesn't need the bass. But what if you want more? And that is where this alt button that we mentioned earlier comes in. This alt button is what the extra bass button used to be back in the day. The 910Ns, the predecessor to this guy, doesn't even have that button, but now it is back. Listen, it makes audio so much boomier. I absolutely love it. So you get increased bass, increased air pressure coming into the headphones. So you get that like head rattling action. I absolutely love it. But you can also press the alt button again and get even more. And you know, it can be a lot. So it's not something you're gonna want on all the time. As much as I love the extra bass, I do turn it off sometimes, especially if I'm jumping around to other content. Maybe I'm not just listening to music. I do find myself turning it off. But if you love that head rattling, this really brings me back to the old days with that extra bass button. I love this. It's versatile enough so that I can still listen to whatever I want, but it finally gives me the option to have just insane bass that I've been missing on a lot of my headphones lately. I'm somebody who can absolutely appreciate clean, natural audio. But sometimes, you know, you just enjoy feeling like a kid who listens to their headphones with the volume up too high. And it is just absolutely an awesome experience here. So I'm gonna be walking around with this from now on. This is going to be the headphones that I travel with moving forward. Like I said, this is my flagship. And if you love genres of music or maybe listening to movies with a lot of boom and bass, I think you'll be pretty happy with these too. Now, these do retail for $200, and I think that is an absolutely fair price. You get great sound quality. The build quality for me is what I would expect from a pair of $200 headphones. It has all of the features that you come to expect. So this is just an overall really, really solid buy. Now, like I said, it is a little bit on the larger side. These extra bassy headphones usually are, but not to the point where it makes you look bad for wearing them. So I'm happy with these. These are the perfect successor to the extra bass line. Do I recommend it to everyone? No. But if you know that you're somebody who enjoys bass, you can't go wrong with these. Safe to say, these are the new king of bass headphones. That was the crown. Did you realize that? I was putting the crown, I was crowning him.
Editor, do that.